You know I'm hyped. I'm the first one here. Mm, mm.
Islam.
It's long.
Quick. How are you feeling this evening, Mobiles?
I'm good. I'm excited that you came on the call and got a chance to share what you've been working on, I'm hyped about it. I know we see some things that we can tweak or whatever, but you have laid the groundwork, and you what you did is beautiful. You just for me, you broke a door wide open. I am not about what you did. You did great. You did great.
I appreciate it. I'm excited myself. I pretty much just been dancing around the house for about a month straight. Can't nobody make me mad. I just be like, all right, yeah, got it.
That's great.
I'm just chilling this out. I'm gonna wait for a couple more people to jump in because you pretty much already seen what I'm about to display. But
No,
I
I can see it again because you haven't downloaded anything to me, so I need that. I need to hear it again, a few times and stuff. Um, and so I'm excited to be here.
yeah. Now my delivery has gotten a little smoother from doing covering the same information, so
Yes, good.
it come out smoother now. Yeah, because when we put all this together, this right here is gonna be beautiful. It's just really gonna uh, really solidify uh, everything to where uh, because there's certain things that we do within the law that the law tells you that they have to do what we say, right? And
Yeah,
I found those laws that forced their hand. Like sometimes we wasn't getting stuff back when we sent our documents out. You know what I mean?
okay.
That's because they didn't have to respond. When we do it this way, they have to respond.
Okay.
So we're gonna get confirmation every demonstration we do. They owe
That's
us they owe us confirmation.
yeah, that's great. Putting them to work. Light should be able to get on.
Yeah, I sent her the link yesterday too, but she must have been busy.
You sent it to her yesterday, the link?
Yeah, on her WhatsApp.
Okay. I'm about to send it right now.
Okay, now I'm just sharing my group real quick. I want this go off my screen. There you go. Do you have oh no, I got it right here. Do you have a problem getting in with my links?
Not right now. Like, well, yeah, sometimes the link it keeps bouncing me back. And but so when I go straight to the app, because the app already has your information saved in there. And so when I go straight to the app, I have less of a problem. But when that link is supposed to open up my app and stuff like that, sometimes I get bounced out.
I have the
Okay.
same problem. I don't get bounced out, but it won't open up. I have to copy the link and then put it into Google.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm just gonna put my meeting ID
My
and
computer.
password in so they can get in that way, just in
Yeah.
case.
Mhm. The same problem the other day. So for some reason from Facebook, it won't take you straight to the Zoom app.
Okay.
Maybe they must not have a contract with one another.
Meeting ID.
Yes, it is for now, for this meeting. The next meeting, I'll give you whatever other emails, but for each meeting, we'll have different. Thank you.
All right, I'm about to get started. Okay, Islam.
It's,
Islam.
How's everybody doing this evening?
All is well. Islam.
great.
Okay, well, I'm gonna start here. Because the name of this meeting is governing our assets. So the first question is, what assets are we governing? This right here, stating when the prophet went to the Pan American Conference in Cuba, 1928, and received the mandate for the land. And Grand Sheikh G. Cook Bay of Temple One said that the prophet showed us the mandate at that chamber. When he got back is when he found this, right? And it says our authority. Well, how do we use our authority? If you go to the bottom, you can't read it on here, but it says, see Heard's Revised Statutes, chapter 32 through 36. And it tells you about our appointed trustees, specimens, and wards. So I dug that up. It's under ILCS 805 right here. So what is this? It's a legal entity owned by the holders of shares of stock that have been issued, and they can own, receive, and transfer property and carry on business in its own name. So this is a trust corporation, a holding entity, right? So in 1928, he gets the mandate from the land for the land, and he creates the 1010-5905 document, which made this, upon filing the affidavit, made it a body politic and corporate. So what is a body politic? Body politic is the people of a nation, a state, or society collectively as an organized group of citizens. Over here, the body politic is a polity, such as a city, realm, or state, considered metaphorically as a physical body. Historically, the sovereign is typically portrayed as the body's head. The analogy may also be extended to other anatomical parts, as in the political reading Aesop's fable, the belly of the member. Now, in me, I study everything. To me, this is what the body of Christ, with Jesus being the head. This is the same type of demonstration we're dealing with. That's why we call Jesus a prophet, and that's why we call Noble Drew Ali a prophet, because they created these sovereign body politics to save the people from taxation, right? As long as they wasn't using money with Caesar's face on it. If you're using money with Caesar's face on it, with these guys' face on it, you're subjecting yourself to have to give Caesar some of that back. Render under Caesar what is Caesar. All right, so let's go back to, so we now, okay, we see the prophet started a body politic, one. So it's a trust and a body politic. Now, how do we know that this is what he did? This is the actual template, right? And it's word for word. So there's no difference from these words than the words that are on here, right? I, Noble Drew Ali, do solemnly swear that at a meeting of the members of the, I do solemnly swear that at a meeting of the members of the, held at, in the county of, in the state of, held at, in the county of, and the state of. So we know for sure this is the law that the prophet organized our authority under, right? So in order to flex our authority, we have to figure out how do we make this us, right? So we don't have to read through the week. I'm gonna drop this link to this total thing in the chat, so we don't have to read through the whole thing, because I know we got people that's gonna study on here. So I just want to show you, if you are attending a temple or affiliated with a temple, it's pretty easy to see if they're operating within the prophet's jurisdiction, because this is what their charter should look like. Because to connect to it, this is the only way. The presiding officer or duly authorized representative of any ecclesiastical body, diocesan or like ecclesiastical officer having jurisdiction, right, agreeable to the laws of any sect denomination over such ecclesiastical district or diocese, shall as soon as may be after such appointment make and file in the office of recorder in the county of which the congregation, church, or society is organized, the affidavit, right? So the affidavit pretty much says the same thing, but we would be at a standstill right now, because I don't know anybody that has a real charter to go and do this to make this charter for me. The prophet's not here, right? So even with knowing this, I would be stuck. But if you go down to the next chapter, which would be 805-115, they pretty much take all that back. So in any case where a church, congregation, or society formed for purpose of religious worship have filed or caused to be filed prior to the effective date of this act, an affidavit in the office of the recorder of deeds in the county which such congregation, church, or society is organized, which will set forth the name of the organization and place where located, and in good faith has proceeded to conduct worship services. This is the worship service we're having right here. And otherwise to carry out functions for which form, although the affidavit may not set forth recitals that the trustees were elected, or that the corporate name was adopted in the manner by section 35 and 36 in Act of Corporations approved April 18th, 1872 as amended, or may not have been made by the chairman or by the secretary of a meeting, as required by said act. Incorporation of such church, congregation, or society in all its acts and transactions, which are otherwise legal or declared hereby, are hereby declared validated and legal. So that says that's telling you that we can amend this document, right? And put it on the file in the county. Now the next hang up would be, that's an Illinois law, right? Well, if you go up here, it tells you that once the prophet did this, we can operate in and outside of the state. Does anybody have any questions so far while I'm looking for this?
Islam. So it does say, and you pointed out that it says state of and state of and state of and county of and all of that. Those are corporations. Is that the jurisdiction that you're wanting to operate at?
Oh no, well, this right here is when we operate this is a separate jurisdiction. This is what you get down in the bottom of it. It tells you about the jurisdictions of the Union State Society and all of their possessions, which are the states, right? So you basically see the hierarchy of what we call the Cessified Trade Trust, right? Which is the Union State Society, which inside of that is all of the several states, right? Is owned basically by the Vatican, right? Which is that's why Prophet created this. This was his move to combat the Cessified Trade Trust. He created a sovereign trust for us to operate out of, right? And he put all of the land and resources in it. So once we attach to this, everything else that we're doing, right, it just be so much richer, because this trust, you can't take anything out of it. Everything that he put in here is still in here. So we just have to connect to it right, not as a whole, because each one of these is basically a house where every man should worship under his own vine and fig tree, right? So every house should be turned into a temple. Every house should be turned into a temple, right? And then you have, well, maybe not even house, maybe family, right? Because you have 5 trustees, right? And they're pretty much the only ones that hold the stock, right? Everybody else is members.
5 trustees.
Yeah, on the right here, it's how many is on here? Well,
Okay.
when we get to the banking part, we need 5. We need a board of trustees of 5, but that's when we get back here to 611. That's when we get back here to the powers of the foreign banking corporation. We still a couple steps from there. Now, right here is where it says that we can operate in and outside of the state. So they compiled the statutes as if these are different laws for different states. I searched every state basically has this law because they have to. You see what I'm saying? Now they changed the name of it so we couldn't find it. But this right here, it can comprise of more than one county of this state.
Can you speak into your microphone? I can't hear you.
It comprises more than one, more than any one county of this state, or extends outside of the state.
Islam.
So we can
normally
outside of the state.
Normally, when we do documents, we put the documents under our videos, and we have other Moors to do it in their territories too. And that so that covers that 5 trustees. It actually gives more than 5 trustees. You know, but yeah, that part is
this is my amended 10.5
okay
for the Kingdom of Colorado.
I like that you took the prophet's signature and put it there. I think that's a great idea.
A lot of people are not doing it. They're changing the date. A lot of people are changing the date. Right? It didn't say we can change the date. The law said we can adopt a corporate name, right? And the prophet or the secretary of the meeting don't have to be talking. That didn't have to, so that means he doesn't have to be there. That means we can use his signature and he's not there.
That's good.
We cannot change the date to today because now we messed ourselves up, because it says that it has to be before the date that this law was enforced, right?
Yeah.
So they made it to where, let me see.
We can't hear you, Nobility.
I'm not talking.
Oh, okay. What we did when we put the document on the public record is we did backdate it to the 28th, August 20, to the date that was on the original.
Yeah, that was correct.
That we saw. But I just think that even if we had changed the date, or if the date is changed, just because we're sovereign, we can do that.
Yeah, yeah. So
I
this
mean,
law,
that's just my,
yeah,
that's
you're
what I
right.
know in my knower about sovereigns is when I look up the definition of sovereign and say we can do just like whatever is lawful, you know. But we did keep it the same date, and I'm glad you pointed that out because it affirms, that what we did was what it should have been.
Now that's now when we like the banking, since it can do business in its own name,
Mhm.
and in my actual comments from the prophet, the bank accounts are supposed to be in either the name of Noble Drew Ali or the Moore Science Temple of America, and then you use the actual this charter, right,
Mhm.
as your trust document on the bank, and this right here, right, being on there, you're going to be able to have the bank account in the name of whatever corporation you name your corporation right here, right?
Mhm.
And then he's going to be able to operate. Any of these people are going to be able to operate in the bank and do anything that we need to get done, right? Because they're actually trustee. Now, the next thing, the thing that we need to do after this is send this document, right,
Mhm.
to the IRS with
Mhm.
the proper affidavits attached to it,
Mhm.
right? And they have to send us, now they have to send us what we've been waiting to get back. Now the state has to send us articles of organization so we can go into the bank and start the bank account that's actually the trust, that's actually our access to step into the Vaste Estate Trust and start moving stuff around, right? Now, another step people have been messing up at is after a couple people I've seen do this right, right? But then they do this, 501c3,
Mhm.
which makes you exempt from taxes on corporations, but we're already exempt. So why would you go down to the state level and pretty much ask, because a new organization must notify the Secretary of State that they're recognized for recognition of a 501c3. So this is asking to be tax exempt. Well, we already are non-tax, we don't have to pay taxes anyway. So we don't have to ask them to incorporate, right? We're doing a 508. So we're not notifying that we're applying. We're doing a 508C, which is exception one,
Mhm.
mandatory exception A, churches, their integrated auxiliaries and convention. So now, with us staying as a 508, because if we go 501c3, we don't have any political establishments. We slid back into the system by free trust, right? But with this 508, we can do business there, and under the 508, this corporation is the foreign bank. Now we've created the foreign bank that can do business within the system. How do we know that? We're getting in on 614, organization certificate of a body corporate, right? So let's go back and see what Noble Drew Ali did. Is this a body corporate? Or is it just a body politic? Let's see. This is a body politic and corporate, right? It's a body politic and corporate. So now when you coming down and start dealing with your subjects, which is the state, right? You jump down in there as a corporation under the 508 and the 611 right here. So now, what is the powers? Now we see we're getting in right here. The name, I got seal, all that. The power of this corporation is everything that we was talking about. Dealing in drafts, checks, bills of exchange, acceptances, and other evidence of indebtedness. Purchase and sale of securities, letters of credit, purchase and sale of coins, bulletin and exchange, borrowing and loaning money, issuers of debentures, bonds and notes, deposits, limitations of liability, and reserves. And it's like this is just this is about 20 more pages of this telling us different ways that we can operate what's in the trust and become the bank ourselves. And
Islam.
and actually take they still look like they're running the banks, but they're really working for us because
Yeah.
they what they need us to do right now is to issue some debentures. What they would want us to do right now is all of us do this and issue them $500 million worth of debentures. Because
So we just talked about tonight on our call, we talked about how we're going to be creating bonds next week. But see, when we do things, we're not even thinking about them because they don't have anything to give us and we're in control of the banks. So what we're doing right along the lines of what you're saying about they're waiting for us to issue something.
yeah.
I knew that in my spirit too. We are so on the same page there. The ancestors have been saying, okay, it's time. And they even gave me some seals that are ancient treasury seals that our ancestors used that we can put on these documents. So I'm going to show those seals and show the first bond that we're going to be creating, which is going to be, and we're creating it under our own United States Corporation Company, which is the living one that we established, and we backed it with gold, silver, sea salt, natural diamonds, and platinum, because we actually have those in our possession. And so what we're doing is we're going to issue the very first bond is going to be a living natural, it's a birth certificate. It's not an affidavit for live birth, because we have those already. And those are issued higher above any corporation. Then when we get into the corporate realm, then we can issue a birth certificate. That's where certificates and things like that come in at. I like what you pointed out at 616 powers of corporations, that part right there, because that's important. I think that's 615. Is that the 80? Is that the 805 regulations?
No, this is US. This is 12 USC 611. So that's 12 USC 615.
Okay, got it. So that's banks and banking.
Yeah. So this bank right here tells you that it has powers broad enough to operate internationally. So that's telling you that you're not under the jurisdiction of the state, right?
Right.
And it tells you in here that we're not allowed to monopolize anything because they know we can't.
Mm-hmm. And we're the state too, but we're the state that's on the land as opposed to the state that only exists out there on paper, floating around, lost at sea, Yeah,
there are states too, but they don't have any land, so they're a state. You know what I mean? Occupying our land.
They are a debtor state.
Yes, it's a debtor state. So it's a state, but they don't have the same power.
Islam.
And from our perspective, they don't have any power and they're subjects. And in reality, there can only be one state on the land. So and they're not it. They are actually now calling themselves individuals. Because either there's the state and then there's individuals. That's all you have on the land, the state and individuals. And in that realm, in that hierarchy, and they know they're individuals now and not the state. They call it the apparatus of the state, which is what the prophet alluded to when he said that Zeppelins and apparatus was going to lift us above the trouble. The apparatus is the state. And the Zeppelins are our documents, individual ships, because documents are ships. This is good information.
Once we merge this together, we have to make a decision what we want to do with the subject. We have to, because of every action either we got to do an action to allow them to be able to eat. Because if we don't do an action to allow them to be able to eat, then we're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do with them. Because they're not gonna be eating. So if we don't do debentures and put some money in some of their fiat dollars in for them to play with, right? And then we start owning the businesses, so they have to spend them back with us. So then we're just using their energy, or they got a 3,000 mile walk back home. They're gonna need some water, like the prophet said. That's the point we at right now.
We talked about that briefly in our meeting tonight when, well, I mentioned briefly that 80 to maybe 90% of our United States corporation company instruments are gold instruments. And then there's going to be like a 10% or maybe 5% where when we issue documents, those documents can be considered gold paper that they can use. We call that fiduciary money.
What was that money for?
Fiduciary money is
no, the dollar. The dollar does not go back. The American dollar. What was this purpose?
The purpose of that was so that when we give the subjects a task to do, they can do it, or that they can eat and do whatever they need.
That's what I'm saying. We gonna leave it just enough for them to be able to play with it if we're gonna let them stay here. If we just remove the dollar, then they're gonna have to walk. They're not gonna have no water, and you know what I mean? They got guns and stuff. You feel me? So we have to know the mind of them. Not that we scared, but we got to use our mind and know who we're dealing with, right? And the situation we're gonna put them in, and what they might do. Right?
So, but you know what? They still have to use lawful money. It has to come from us. It has to be issued by us, or else they will attempt to usurp again. So they're gonna. So, and that's what I was saying tonight about that 5 or 10% in paper that we issue that they can use. It's called in Treasury language. It's called cross-border language. I mean cross-border money.
I don't think we should allow them to even have go back money. They should keep using the fiat, and we just control the fiat system and have out. We just don't touch it, right? We'll still pay them in it if they work, and we'll still accept it from them, but we're not giving them no real money that they can go and spend nowhere else. Either they be, you see what I'm saying? Either they be subject like they're supposed to, or mountains and the cave sides of Europe. We can't let them like collect and build none of the wealth from the rich. They can't touch that. Can't allow them to touch that. We got to use that fiat for what the fiat was for, to keep up with their debt and their work, right? We're gonna put it back for what it was for. We don't want them to have to get back to no type of power. We already seen what they'll do. If they have any gold or any of that, they shouldn't. That's what the fiat was for. The fiat was for them. So we're just gonna stop using it, control it, and let them keep using it.
Well, the only problem with that is that it's not lawful. They have to have something back. It has to be constituted. It has to be backed by gold or silver because they're debtors. And the Constitution says gold and silver in payment of debts. So, or gold and silver coin in payment of debts. That's what it says, coin. So we have to give them, and this is only for as long as they're going to be here. Okay. Because they're not going to be here long. As you can see, they're starting to leave anyway, because they see which way the sea winds have changed. The sea has changed.